Everybody, and welcome to a rather dull, overcast, dreary start to our morning in Juma. Hopefully soon the sun will come up and try and kind of burn all this cloud away and we'll get a little bit of blue sky and bright sunshine. Now, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I've got Fergus. Nice to have you back on Rusty, Fergus. Been a long time since Fergus been on this vehicle, so always good to have him back on here. Now, it is a live interactive show, so remember that you can talk to us, and that you can do on #SafariLive or on YouTube chat should you want to. Now, we are where we left Hukumuri last night. You can see this is a very deep drainage, but Hukumuri was in this area, and those of you who don't know who Hukumuri is, that is a male leopard that we had in this section, and he had a kill yesterday. He had a little baby kudu that was at the base of that tree. Now, it's not there anymore. There's nothing in the tree itself, so I think that possibly it might have been stolen by hyenas. Maybe hyenas rushed in and grabbed it before he had time to put it in the tree, or he's just dragged it into another spot. So I'm going to have to just do a little bit of looking around. We only just arrived here right now, and so we're kind of just scanning and seeing what's happening. There are a few alarm calls for some grey go-away birds and francolins, and so you never know. Maybe he's just kind of drifting in around this area. So what I'm going to do is try and kind of just reverse out, go around the other side like I was yesterday, check around there if I can see anything. If there's nothing here, then we'll go and check Treehouse Dam, because I wouldn't be surprised he's gone towards Treehouse Dam to go and have a drink and at least chill that side. So that's the kind of idea behind what we're going to do. Whether we're going to get it right, well, I'm not quite sure, but hopefully it will all work out. Now, I'm going to try and get out of here without decapitating myself and Ferg, which will be probably something I need to kind of concentrate on. Also, Rusty needs to go into reverse, otherwise we're not going to go anyway. But there we go. Let's see now. There's two branches that I have to be a bit careful of when reversing here. One is a nice tambuti, and the other one is, I think, a little bush willow behind me. So just going to try and get into a situation where I can slowly edge out and not damage the aerial. Fergus is being like a gymnast at the moment. I've got to duck down because otherwise I'm going to get a tree to the back of the head. There it comes, and all is well in the world. That was nice and easy. Well done. What's the Winter Olympics equivalent of a gymnast, Fergus? I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Nikki? Nikki, you got any ideas? Winter Olympics gymnast style? Figure skating? Figure skating. I don't know if I want to be called a figure skater though, Figures. I think figure skater maybe. I certainly don't have the build for a figure skater, that's for sure. So don't think I'm going to be participating in any Olympic figure skating events. Maybe we can do something else though. I'll think about it. Maybe it's a bit like bobsleigh. You know, you've got to kind of duck and dive as you go around corners. Maybe a little bit like that. Rusty could be a bobsled. I think so. Rusty's got the capabilities of doing some bobsledding work. Yes, especially because we need to push them to get them started the last few days. Yes, very clever, Fergus. Well done. Right, I'm going to try and see if I can find anything around this area, and while I try and do that, Scotty D is up and running and is out this morning with me, so let's go across to him and find out what his plans are for the morning.
Good morning everybody, and welcome on board. My name is Scott, and I'm teamed up with Senzo, a major fashion icon here in the SafariLive team. Sadly you can't see what he's wearing, but that's half the mystery about his skills. Good luck to Tristan and his search for Hukumuri. It's such a tricky area that he's in there, but with a little bit of luck and Tristan's skills, I'm sure that he will be able to find out what has happened there. We are searching for other leopards, a leopard that is in grave danger of from the leopard that Tristan is looking for, and her name is Tandy, and she's got a small little cub, and the reason why she's in danger is that the male that Tristan's looking for is a new kind of imposter into the area, and if he finds Tandy and her little cub, there's a strong chance that he will kill that cub. So there was a report of her not too far from here. She was finishing off a kill. I'm not too sure what it was, and I just thought we'd come here in the off chance that we would have a drinking at that big water hole, but no joy. So what we're going to do is head off to the last position where she was seen, which is about half a mile away from here, not far at all, and we just need to hope that she's come back onto Juma. She was south of our southern boundary, and We're guessing that she's moved into this area to avoid the male that Tristan's looking for as he pushes deeper into her turf. Another thing that I'm hoping for is another visit from the resident pride of lions, the Nkuhuma pride. They've been gone for quite a while now, so they could well decide to pop back for a visit. But no reports of any other vehicles getting out just yet. It's just Tristan and myself out yet in this area of the Sabi Sands. So what I'm going to actually do is head on to Chitwa, which is an area where they use a different radio channel, and I haven't been across there for a while, and just listen in on their radio and see if we can't get any updates as to what's happening around our property. And I'll also be checking very carefully the road for any tracks. There's a hyena that walked up the road. Not interested in that. What we're hoping for is the tracks of that leopard. It'll be tricky to see on this road. It is quite a busy road, and it's also quite hard, not very sandy, so not too easy to see tracks. Okay, well, as you've gathered, that this is a live safari coming to you from South Africa, but also Kenya, and you'll be glad to know the weather up in the Masai Mara is beautiful and sunny, and Brent is cruising around with his wig-like hair.
Good morning. While we take you away from the battle of the beards, Scott versus Tristan, who will find a leopard first? My name is Brent Leo Smith. We're just going to give you a moment of silence with the most magnificent Masai Mara dawn. Voila! Isn't that magic? It's mornings like this that absolutely make me excited to be on Game Drive. It is so gorgeous this morning. It is just beautiful. Magic, 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 magic. Now let's see what magic lies beneath us on the Mara floor. Look at that color. Look at that color. Oh, it even makes me look good, and that's difficult. Okay, carrying on. As I said, we've got the Battle of the Beards going on in Juma. Scott versus Tristan. Who's going to find a leopard first? I wonder what we're going to find in the Mara. I'm just thrilled to be out. Remember, if you want to ask us any questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or on whatever feed you might be watching. But this is 100% live, so we literally do not know who's going, well, what's going to happen next. So I've got a question for you all, and it's to do with the Battle of the Beards. Who is going to find a leopard first, Scott or Tristan? Hashtag Safari Live, hashtag Battle of the Beards. So we've got the Bearded Wonder Dyson, the Leopard Whisperer Dix, so it's going to be very interesting to see who can win. I, of course, I'm just going to float above both and see what wonders the Mara brings me. Now, Scott is correct. Gary Main is hell to track on. We've all had to do it over the years, and hopefully we get some nice fresh tracks there. And very interesting about the Hukumuri male. Also, actually, thinking about it, I think the only three Oh, I'm gonna finish that thought later, because the Battle of the Beards is over. And let's go to Scott.
Yes, that was a quick battle, but we haven't won yet because the leopards just dipped into a little riverbed and we are on our southern boundary, so we can't drive in there, but we can kind of snipe some views from here, hopefully. And I'm thinking that Tandy could be trying to hunt some of these guinea fowl, these birds that you can hear chirping away here. And she's kind of heading towards them, and she knows that this could provide her and her cub with a little snack. Oh. And you get a good idea that those guinea fowl just got a very, very big fright. Now, I didn't see her, but you could tell by the way they erupted there how they got definitely a view of that leopard, and I'm guessing it was quite close to them, so hopefully she's going to continue towards us and pop out and come on to Juma. Where has she gone? Now the cub is here as well. We got a brief view of the cub, seeming very, very playful. It was jumping around in some bushes trying to play with mom, and then mom headed down into the riverbed before we just saw these guinea fowl erupt. And now they're continuing to alarm call at her. Oh, it's so frustrating knowing she's right here but not being able to see her. Bobby, you've mentioned how pretty these guinea fowl and their feathers are. They're wonderful birds. Yeah, I think Senzo might be able to get a view of one while we wait for the leopards to poke their heads out. Oh, let me move the vehicle a little bit for you. You'll also notice, Bobby, they've got bright blue heads, and you can see quite a few spots on its feathers there. That is a very unimpressed guinea fowl. How cool seeing the way the animals respond to predators. Let me try and creep forward a little bit and see if we can't get any little gaps. And Bobby, you'll be glad to know there's many different types of guinea fowl that live in Africa. You get some up in northern Kenya called the Vulturine guinea fowl. Those are probably my favorite with regards to their feathers and the colors and shapes and spots. Oh, we're gonna get a view from here. I doubt it. It is just so thick that we might need to just sit here and be patient and hope that she pops out a little bit later. But well done to Senzo, who initially spotted her. Senzo is an absolute wizard when it comes to spotting animals, and I'll definitely rate him as one of the best cameramen to have on the back when it comes to finding extra things to look at. So we all owe him a thank you for at least getting us into the right spot. And like I said, the game is not over yet. I thought we had beaten Tristan to it, even though we set on a much bigger gamble than he did this morning, because that male leopard should still be somewhere. Senzo spotted her again. You may just get a few. There we go, well done. You can just see the tail moving, and I guess this is a perfect example of just what I was talking about, Senzo's spotting skills. So, oh, there she's moving now. Well done. Now, sadly, it doesn't look like she was moving the way we wanted her to be moving. I'm just going to reverse a little bit to try and keep up with her, or at least get us some more views. Robin, you'd like to know, how often do leopards kill birds? Well, it'll all depend on the individual leopard, the area that it's in, and what other prey it has access to, but they definitely will. Oh, just saw the cub running off. Let me move forward a tiny bit. So yeah, I mean, just the other day, Hosanna caught a baby goose. So that happened fairly recently. But I mean, it's in this area, it's not hugely often, or at least not that we've seen. But again, predators will always just take whatever opportunities they are presented with. So you'll probably find that they go through periods where they can cash in on birds and opportunities are easy, and then they go through a period where it's not so easy. Well done, Sens. Yeah, let me move back a bit. Well done, Sens. Now I just need to get onto the game drive radio and let these guys know what's going on here quickly. Morning, guys. Just to let you know, Tandy's in the same locker as yesterday evening. Sorry, let me try one more time. Can any station copy me? Morning, just to let you guys know, Tandy's in the same lock as yesterday evening. Affirmative. Yeah, it's just myself here, and I'm viewing from the boundary. They are south in the Scorva. Okay, everybody, just got some admin out the way there, and it's very important that we do share sightings with everyone. I'm glad you got a little glimpse there. So that's some good news, and let's just hope that they come a little bit closer towards us. Deanna, would like to know if there's any chance that Tandy would give a small bird, oh, there's a little cub, to that little fur ball. Yes, there's a chance that she'll give all manner of small prey that may still be alive to the cub, but it's not really something that's practiced a huge deal. And we must also remember that, any little kind of things that a mother leopard would do like that, it's just a bit of extra training, you could say. It's not imperative that she does teach the cubs how to hunt. They will have an instinctual knowledge of how to catch things, just like domestic cats. So even though domestic cats don't get raised by their parents, they get raised by human parents who certainly don't teach them how to hunt, yet they still have the ability to. Very good. Well, we're going to stay patiently here on our boundary and hope this lady comes back onto Juma, where we'll be able to get you some better views of her. But for now, Tristan has seemed to have got lucky with another leopard. Enjoy.
Indeed we have, as you can see by this scathing look that is coming through the green grass, that we have found Hukumuri. He's not where he was last night at all. He's moved quite a bit. He's quite far to the east now in the drainage line, and so we kind of heard some Franklin's alarm calling. What's he seen? He's seen something. I don't know. I can't see what it is, but he's definitely spotted something. Look at how he kind of just tilted his head up a little bit, and he's watching behind me, and now I'm looking behind me, and I can't see anything of interest. I thought maybe there would be some sort of prey animal or something, but he's definitely locked on to something. Now it just goes to show how incredible their senses are. Maybe he's heard something, and that's why he's just lifted his head slightly and shifted to kind of look almost past us to try and see what's going on behind us. He is very aware of what's going on, and he doesn't seem to have that carcass anymore. I can't see any sign of a kill. Where he's lying is not exactly a very dense area. It's much more open than what we were in yesterday, and there's no big trees around, so I don't think the carcass is still here. Here we go. He's up and moving now. Let's see where he goes. But look at the size of this tummy as he comes over. You can see he's got a big round tummy. Rick, you're wondering how far Hukumuri is from Tandy and the cub right now. Well, he's probably, if you had to do leopard walking time in a straight line, I would say 15 minutes if he walked a hard walk. We are now sitting northwest of Twin Dams in the drainage line that we've seen Tandy in shadow many times. So that's where we are currently. Look, you see he's going to scent mark, so it's difficult for you guys to see. I'm going to try to get forward, but he's busy going to the toilet as well. Delightful. It doesn't look like a very nice toilet time either. It looks like he's just had a big meal. So there we go. There's my scat collection opportunity. I'm not going to do that right now because, well, that's a little on the fresh side. We'll come and get it a bit later after drive. Is probably a good idea. We're also going to try and avoid driving over it because that's not going to be pleasant either. But he's moving up towards the road, which is good news. So I'm going to try and keep up with him. But like I say, he's northwest of where Tandy and the cub are at the moment, and it's not very far at all. In fact, if he wanted to, you could probably get very close to them quite quickly. We know that this male likes to walk quite a bit. Now, are you going to go back into this drainage line? Please don't go inside here. It looks like he is. Now, Ferg, I suggest you block your nose because it's not going to be a very pleasant smell that we're about to go over. And yesterday's anything to go by. He had a bit of a sort of toilet time yesterday, and that was not very pleasant. Yep, there it is. It's that lovely pungent smell of a leopard. Okay, he's going around. Is he going around the mound? It looks like it. Let's just jump around here quickly. I was hoping he was going to go onto the road. It would have been far easier to kind of negotiate than where he's heading. It looks like he's heading back down to where that carcass was and the impenetrable fortress that is that drainage line. But we should get a view from here. Let's just go forward a little bit. There we go, Ferg. He is an intimidating fellow, though, and I also find that he's got this kind of funny way that he sits or stands. His legs almost bow a little bit, so he's got this kind of bow-legged approach to life. So there he comes. Now, it was pity because he was just kind of standing there and had his legs out slightly, and he looks almost, like I say, like these short, stocky dogs breeds that we get in the world. There he comes, slowly moving. Now, he is heading back to where this carcass was yesterday, so I wonder if maybe it's somewhere down below. Do you want to walk here, my boy? Okay, yep, hold on. So there's a little path that comes in front. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm going to just reverse back slightly just to see if he wants to walk on that path so that we don't block it for him and don't send him into the drainage. That should be enough space, although he's still trying to kind of get relaxed in terms of really trusting the vehicles too much. So let's see, though. Yes, there we go. He was just waiting for us to be able to move out the way so he could walk on that pathway past where the car was parked. So sometimes you just got to kind of look at what's running in front of that leopard, and there you can see, if you're wondering if he's not a relaxed individual, that he is incredibly relaxed nowadays. It's amazing the difference that 6 weeks to sort of 2 months can make with a male leopard in an area. Once he starts to feel like he's confident enough to mate with females and scent mark, they become a lot more relaxed a lot quicker, which is really good news. So it's also a lot of effort has gone into kind of keeping up with him and trying to follow him as much as possible over the last little bit. Right, let's get behind him. He's got his nose to the ground again, so I wonder if he's not picking up some sort of scent. Maybe it's where his carcass was dragged by hyenas. I don't see any drag marks. No, he's heading straight down to where that carcass was. So let's see. I wonder if he hasn't just stashed it somewhere and put it in a thicket, and that's why we just can't see it at the moment, is because it's been stashed away inside of this thicket. Could be the case. Where are you sneaking off to? You are going down there, aren't you? So, Madison, you say Hukumuri is a gangster. Well, he does look a bit kind of serious and gangster-like, doesn't he? He's not the most massive male leopard, and I've seen a few comments online where people say that he's an extremely small leopard, which he's not. He's not an extremely small leopard, I can tell you that right now. He's a leopard that is bulky, and he is maybe shorter than some of the other males, but he's not a small leopard by any stretch of the imagination, and he is putting on a lot of weight. Since the first time he was seen, I can tell you now that he's not a tiny little individual. I've seen a few leopards in my lifetime, and he certainly is impressive and has got an imposing sort of demeanor to him. Right, now he's heading back down into this thicket. Whether or not we're going to be able to get a view of him again, I'm not quite sure. We're going to try. Let's see how we go. But while we kind of try and keep up with him and see where he ends up and what he's up to, let's send you back to Brent Leo Smith, who's got a beautiful view of the Mara sunrise.
Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? As I said, it's just one of those mornings here in the Mara where you can't help but be excited to be out at dawn. Now, the battle of the beards seemed to be won by the bearded wonder, Scott Dyson. Now, I think, even though Senzo spotted it, we work as teams, cam ops and presenters, so I think it still goes to Scott. Tristan might disagree, of course, and quite instantly, I think, out of all the Safari Live presenters, this morning you have the three presenters who actually know where the Hukumuri is, or where he comes from. And I'm sure you've been told by Scott and Tristan, there's some balloons cruising out over the plains of the Mara. Now, the Hukumuri is a drainage line on a property called Ottawa that we used to traverse when we all worked at Singita. One of my favorite little river systems in the whole of South Africa. It is absolutely gorgeous, the Hukumuri. Also, very seldom seen by cars. Not many vehicles go into the area of the Hukumuri, and that's probably why he was a bit skittish. But it seems like Tristan had a word and he started behaving. So Archie and I have had a little discussion. We've decided, you know what? we're going south. We're going south, south, south all the way to the Tanzanian border. We're hoping we might get some cheetah luck down there. Magic. Magic, magic, Mara. Okay, let's keep moving. It is just so wonderful. Julie says magical. I agree with you completely, Julie. Absolutely magical. I've just got that feeling this morning that we're going to see something completely exciting. And I'm just excited. And you know what? It could even be a bird. We don't know what it's going to be, but I've got a feeling that there's magic in the air in Cape this morning. And you've already had some Sabi Sands magic back in South Africa with already Tandy, the cub, Hukumuri, and we're not even half an hour in yet. I wonder what magic the Mara is going to produce. I wonder. Okay, while we are missioning down here, I think it's time for a bit of safari trivia. And it actually comes on a conversation I was having last night over apple juice with we were chatting a little bit about the early days. Well, because I think it's today or tomorrow, sometime in this week, it's going to be my 3-year anniversary since I've been at safari. Like, oh, I've got audio pickup. It's my fault. That fell down. It should be fixed now. Is it fixed now, Nicola? Let's just check if yeah, sorry, my mic pack dropped down. But so it's going to be very shortly. I think it's in this week. I can't remember the exact day. Maybe you guys can remind me of my interview drive. But it'll be 3 years with Wild Earth shortly. Wow, how time has flown. Incredible. But we were chatting about the old days at Juma when I think there were like 5 or 6 of us in camp at the most. Yes, Nicola has reminded me I had Wild Dog on my interview drive. That was a sign. I still can't believe I haven't found the only 2 wild dogs in the Mara yet. Who knows, maybe we'll get some wild dogs coming in from the Serengeti this morning. That would be a treat. But, I mean, we were talking about it. I mean, Alex, those of you who don't know, Alex is the tech genius who makes this all happen on a daily basis. But there were so few of us that Alex used to be on camera quite often. And we used to only put 1 vehicle out during the week and only 2 vehicles on the weekends. And the thought of putting vehicles out from 2 different countries was almost unthought of back then. So it's incredible how things have changed in such a short time, and so exciting to be part of that change. I mean, when I started, there was Andrew, Brian, myself, Alex, and Mark in camp. And of course Scott had done Big Cat Week before, and then I think after I'd been there about a month, Scott and Nikki arrived. Yes, you, Nicola, who's talking to me in my ear this morning. And that was quite exciting, but there's been ups and downs and turnovers and change arounds, but the one thing I find incredible that the core of us from that era are still here. There we go. White Lady, February 16th, 2015 was the first day. Oh, Archie's telling me that I'm causing traffic jams. Nobody else for it. It's the Rangers off somewhere. So now let's think about it. The core of us who started back in that first sort of 3 or 4 month period are still here. So it's Nikki, Scott, James, Jamie, me, who else am I thinking about? Alex, Kirsten, Lou. But I'll think about it a bit more, but I'm not going to keep you away from one of your favourite kitty cats with the bearded wonder, Scott Dyson.
Well, happy to hear Brent is in such a good mood this morning, regaling you of stories of the past. And it really is wonderful how much of the crew has stayed along for the journey, as well as all the new crew members who've very recently joined. Tandy just got up there for a second. I was hoping it was going to be her time to come back to Juma, but alas, she just lay back down. So not too sure what got her attention. Maybe it's just the youngster, which is in a very playful mood. It's up and down. Oh, there it is, back to mom for a little bit of playing. What you tend to find is that mom is not too interested. As you can see her snarling and hissing at the cub, so she's, I guess, getting a little bit tired of its games for the morning. We have on a few occasions had mom also in a very playful mood, and I'm sure it does happen almost daily that she does get along with the cub, but there are periods of time where she would rather just relax and be an adult. Oh, and then what you tend to find is the cub doing just this is when mom's not interested, the cub kind of goes off for a minute or so on its own little exploration and then comes back to mom just to check in, and then off she goes again. Sadly, it is so thick here, so it's been difficult to follow the cub's exact movements, but definitely doing a lot of exploring. Snazzy, you would like to know whether a leopardess would teach its cub to eat only kind of certain parts of a kill. And I don't think so. I think, the majority of the kill, the cub is going to, be able to taste what is tasty and discard what is not. So there's only a few parts of the carcass, like the kind of stomach content or any bits that are simply too big to physically chew on and swallow, that will be left behind. Almost everything else on a carcass, depending on what it is, will be eaten. So I think kind of things like feathers and fur will naturally be avoided because it's not going to be pleasant to chew on. So I'm not too sure how much actual teaching happens there, as opposed to just kind of it just naturally happening without any necessary tutorials on the matter. Again, there is just so much instinct that is born into these wild animals that help them survive. I guess we could think of the herbivores who, within minutes of being born, a lot of them will know how to stand and then also just know where to seek out milk and know what to do to get the milk out of their mother's mammaries. And the same as the leopard cubs, they and lion cubs, they know that they have to use their paws to massage their mother's mammary glands to help get milk out, and that's not something that is trained by their mother. It's merely instinct. Oh, well done, Sens. Another little glimpse. Nancy, you would like to know if there are any updates on this leopard's sister called Shadow and her daughter who's called Not Barbara. There hasn't been any reports for quite some time now. So, let's hope everything's okay. It's a bit of guesswork on my behalf here, but I'm fairly confident that Shadow's territory occupies a larger area that this Hukumuri male is now moving through, and the Hukumuri male could have come across her and her daughter and possibly killed both of them. And it's just a possibility. There was no tracks or no sightings or no confirmation that did happen, but it is a likely, especially due to the fact that she hasn't been seen for so long. Let's hope that is not the case and that she's just kind of flying below the radar, moving far away, also trying to dodge the imposter, just like this leopard and her cub are doing. But no, we haven't heard of any sign of her, and Tristan, who's got lots of contacts all around the surrounding properties where Shadow could be seen, he too has not got any updates. So if he hasn't got any updates, then we can start getting a little bit bit concerned as to where she may be. But let's hope that she is still out and about. There's also, on top of the fact that there's a bit of a dispute between the dominant males of this area with the new imposter, there was also a kind of dispute between Shadow and Tandy, these two sisters who tried to occupy their late mother's territory. We're guessing their mother has also passed away. Okay, well, we're going to stay put. Thandi is kind of semi-up, so let's hope that she plans a move shortly. Maybe she's even going to just go out hunting for their next meal and take us along with. In the meantime, we are sending you back to Tristan, though. Maybe he'll have some more theories as to where Shadow and not Barbara may be, and also a glimpse of the Hukumuri male.
Well, a glimpse is all we're going to get, because somewhere in the depths of that abyss of tangled branches and grasses and various other things lies the Hukumuri male. Now, you would never, ever, ever in your life know that there is a leopard inside there. If you walked past here, drove past here, did anything, you would not see him. The only reason we know he's there is because we watched him disappear into it. But I can see he's watching us through that thicket. There you can see his head is moving a little bit behind all of the branches. But he really is well camouflaged inside there, and it is the perfect place for a leopard to spend time. He's gone flat again. I think he's having a really good nap inside there, so I don't know if we're going to get too much from him. Oh, up again. Now, hopefully what's going to happen is what's happening to us is that there are 1 billion flies all around us, maybe even 2 billion. There are literally flies absolutely everywhere, and I'm hoping that they are going to irritate him as much as they are irritating us, and that he gets out and walks somewhere else. But it doesn't look like it. It looks as though he's firmly planted himself, at least for now, in this dense thicket, and has decided this is where he's going to rest. Now, in terms of Shadow and not Barbara and Thandi and all these kind of things, well, I'm not sure where Shadow and Cub are at the moment. They apparently have been seen on Hofmann's, and were seen on the Little Gowrie Hofmann's boundary as well, right at the beginning of February. So where they've gone from there, I'm not quite sure. Hofmann's is not an area that is traversed nearly as much as some of the others. So it's only Chitwa and Arathusa that go onto that area. And so it's possible that she's there. I'm pretty sure that she's being just like Tandy and just keeping a very low profile at the moment, and making sure that doesn't attract too much attention to herself, trying to keep kind of out of the way of what's going on with the males. Tingana evidently is not his normal self, because Tingana normally would have been patrolling Juma, would have been here, and we know that he hasn't. We haven't picked up tracks for him. We haven't seen him on Juma in quite some time. Even though we are seeing him, all of the sightings recently have been down on Chitwa. So he hasn't actually been seen on Juma for, as far as I know, the entire month. And so it begs the question as to what happened. Did he run across Hukumuri at some point? I don't know. I don't think so. We haven't seen any signs of that happening, and we certainly haven't seen Hukumuri on Juma when Tingana was around, so it's difficult to say. But I feel like the females know there's a shift and a change, and what they're doing is just trying to push themselves into wherever Tingana still is, just to try and protect themselves as much as possible. So it's probably why Thandi, Shadow have all kind of pushed further southeast into towards Chitwa, where Tingana has been roaming around, and that's probably why they're there. It could be that Tingana isn't up this way just because of the number of cubs that are around that area. He feels like he needs to patrol that section a lot more, but it's difficult to know, and well, only time will tell. Now, talking about cubs and these kind of things, I believe Thandi's little one is starting to play and jump around all over the place as only it can. So let's go across and have a little cuteness overload with Scotty.
Yes, we've got a perfect little gap here to see Mom and this youngster playing about, and they're kind of running around a little bit and then just plot themselves down perfectly in this little window for us. Look at how cool this is. Wonderful stuff. Now, I must reiterate, if any of you have just joined us, we are sniping some views of these guys. We're hoping they're going to come a little bit closer towards us, but this is the closest we can get to now, and definitely the best views we've been getting all morning. And so fortunate to be able to spend time with a leopardess and her cub, and especially the fact that we've Been watching this little cub grow, and it's growing very quickly. Each time I see it, I'm astounded at how much bigger it's getting. Ah, what a treat. You can see it's quite feisty, and it can really hiss and snarl at its mom when mom's not playing along. But mom does give it back to the youngster every now and then. James Richards, you agree that this little cub is getting so big, and I remember the first time I ever laid eyes on it, it was probably a third of how big it is now, and that was somewhere around the 10th of December. It poked its head out of a tiny little cavity in a tree, and it was the most awesome way to see it for the first time. We initially just got a glimpse of movement, and then it slowly just came and poked its head out. It seems like it's climbing a tree now. I just want to drive forward a bit and see if we can't get you any views of it. So somewhere on that dark branch there we go. It's up in the tree there. Well done, Sense. Matt, you would like to know if Tandy has got any idea that the Hukumuri male is somewhere around. Not that we are aware, but the cub just flung itself down there. Not that I'm aware, we are aware, but there is a chance that she went out scouting last night for any possible threats and worked out that he is nearby, so maybe she does know, but I think she's just got a general idea that he is moving into the area. And that's why she's moved out of the kind of central parts of Juma, where we were kind of seeing her and where she was spending a lot of time with the cub. As soon as he came onto the scene, she almost immediately moved east towards our eastern boundary, and thereafter she moved south. And she hasn't really gone back, into that area just yet. So I'm guessing she is avoiding it because she has the general idea that he's around and that there's some kind of a dispute going on between her boyfriend and this newcomer. You can just see the cub's tail dangling in the tree there. Looks like it's clinging on. Come and play a little bit closer to us. It'll be so nice to be able to see exactly what it's getting up to. It's torture that it's just behind this bush. But at least we do have them. And they could at any moment get up and move into a better spot for us to view them. It's a nice cool morning, so that's definitely going to assist with them being playful and active, or at least the little cub being playful and active for longer. Ordinarily now, if the sun was shining, we'd be starting to get quite hot. Caitlin, you would like to know how many leopards are in Juma. Well, there's this female and her sister that we can see. Those are the two main kind of females that we see. And there's one main dominant male called Tingana, so that's 3. Two young males that come through from time to time, so that's 5. Another male to the north called Djuma that we occasionally see, plus the new imposter, so that's 7. We saw a random female that could also be pushing into the area called the Ingrid Dam female not so long ago, so that's 8. So yeah, 8 adults we can see, but Tandy is definitely the most common residence. Her territory encompasses a lot of the Juma property. The dominant male's territory stretches far bigger than our little area, so he's often not on the property, making sure he patrols his territory elsewhere. So yeah, about 8 leopards that are all adults can be seen, and I'm almost certain that there's always probably a leopard on our area of traverse. It's just whether or not we can find it, and sometimes there's considerably more than that. We've been lucky with some sightings of the dominant male with his girlfriend and sometimes their youngsters, so 3 leopards together. How cool is this? Come on, Tandy, come back to Juma. We are right here. There's lots of food. I guess there's also the Hukumuri male, but she can go. There's lots of areas where she can go where she'll be far away from him. And at least we do. I mean, not that we would be able to do anything to assist her, not that we would, but at least for our own kind of peace of mind, we know where he is and that she, for the time being, is safe over here. Well, it sounds like Tristan has left that tricky sighting of the Hukumuri male where visuals weren't great, and hopefully he'll be able to find one of the other leopards we've just been chatting about. Ideally, Shadow and not Barbara, who haven't graced us with their presence for a long time. Why don't you go and see what he has planned?
Well, indeed. So I reluctantly have left Hukumuri for now, just because the visual really is so poor. There was not much more I could do. I tried to look around to see if I could maybe get from the other side, but there really isn't a way to see him any better than what we had, which was at best almost 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and look around a bit, and then we're going to go back there and see if maybe he's come out a little bit and we can get a better view of what's going on. That's at least the plan. But while we do that, I was thinking I might as well come and check this western side, and the reason why is because you never know what's kind of come in on this side. Could be Shadow and not Barbara, there could be Shadulu female, Tumba could be here, the Inkahuma pride, so there's a lot of options on this western side, so I thought I would do a little kind of loop around and just check and see what's happening and see if there's any signs. So Caitlin, you want to know how many cubs there are in the area at the moment. So if we start on the furthest eastern section of this kind of northern block, if you want to call it that, on Nkoro, Torchwood, Cheetah Plains, there's Inkanyeni with 1 cub there, which is about 3 months old, very similar age to what Tandy's cub is. Then you come a little bit further to the west, then you've got Kuchava with an unknown amount of cubs. She does have cubs, but they don't know how many. They have not seen them yet. They've just seen very big suckle marks on her, and she keeps going into the same drainage line, and well, that's a definite indication of a female that is lactating and well producing a cub. So she's got as well, could be 1, could be 2, could be 3, and then you've got Thandi with her cub. Then the Sabui female's got 2 cubs at the moment, and that is all the cubs on this eastern side. So Tingana's been a busy boy. If we go towards the western side and we start heading towards Arathusa side, Shadulu, no cubs as yet, but has mated with Hukumuri. And then you've got Tiani, no cubs. Insele has got 1 cub at the moment. And Moya, I think, has got 1 or 2. Sorry, she's just been seen with 2 brand new cubs on Londolozi. So that's the number of cubs at the moment. Quite a big number if you ask me. Well, a lot of them if you ask me. And hopefully it's going to be a very successful period. And all the males will behave themselves and stay where they currently are. And that will allow all of our sort of cubs to grow up and get nice and big. Right, now I'm going to start kind of going along and seeing what I can find and whether or not I can pick up any tracks for a leopard or lions or anything really. And while I do that, let's send you back across to Brent and some jumping impalas.
Well, unfortunately the Mara is not producing cats this morning, but it is still absolutely gorgeous. Now, these impala were cavorting about with the joy of dawn, and they're about as happy with this beautiful morning. Oh, there comes one cavorting. There we go. They've been playing, running around, kicking out their back legs, jumping up and down, just having the best old time. And they seem about as happy as I am to be out this morning. Now, we're on the Topi Plain at the moment. The Topi Plain is an area where we often see the musketeer male lion coalition, but no sign of them yet this morning. But lots of impala, and if we go across to the other side of the road, And there's the animals that it is named on, the topi, and there's some Thompson's gazelles. It is just a wonderful scene this morning. And an Egyptian goose. I didn't even see that. I just spotted it in the camera. Some Egyptian goose out grazing. Now, we're about halfway to where we want to be. As I said, we decided at the last second, let's go south. Let's go all the way south to Tanzania. Maybe do a dance on the border and hopefully find some cheetah down there. Now, in the triangle, because of the shape of the triangle, the cheetah tend to spend a lot, there's a lot more cheetah densities as you go further down south. And that's just because of the shape of the triangle. Up around our camp in the northern side of the triangle, the space between the escarpment and the river is quite skinny. And as you go down, it becomes wider. And the reason the cheetah don't like hanging out in that skinny zone is because the density of lions in that very small area is high. I mean, we've got the Olololo Pride, the Marsh Breakaways, the Mara River Pride, the small sausages, all within that tiny little area. So it's a very dangerous place to be a cheetah. The leopards survive, but the leopard hide out in the forests where the lions don't go too often. So it's quite interesting. So when we want to go find cheetah, we need to head south. Nicola just posed a question. The small sausages. Well, there's a bit of confusion. Rufous nape lark. Let me just go back a little bit because Rufous nape is very pretty and very prominent, but I want to get him in the sun, not hiding in the shadow of our car. There he is. Oh no, you horrible lark. Oh no, it stopped. There we go. You can see that Rufous nape. Oh, I take that back. That is not a Rufous nape lark. I apologize. I just saw it in the shadow there. It actually looks like a red-capped lark. Do red-capped lark occur in the Mara? Interesting. I'm trying to remember if I've seen red-capped lark here before. Yes, it is a red-capped lark, not a rufous-naped lark. The rufous-naped lark is quite different. I'll actually show you. So, I mean, when it comes to larks, it can be quite difficult with all the little things. So, as I say, it takes a long time to get to know your larks well. So there we go. That is the red-capped lark, the one we've just seen. Now, with a lot of the larks, you do get coloured variations. So I'm just going to go show you what the rufous nape lark looks like. And see, the moment I saw the white on the face, I knew it wasn't a rufous nape lark, but rather a red-capped lark. Now, see, as I was talking about different variations, so these are different species of rufous nape lark. The one we get in the Mara mostly is actually nigrensis, this one down here. We get to see them. We see actually quite a few different colour variations of rufous nape larks here. But enough larking about. We've got spotted cats to find. Let's move on. I'm so funny this morning. I'm so clever as well. Good morrow, Raya would like to know, when are the wildebeest going to return for the migration? So it varies every year. At the earliest, they start crossing the Sand River in early July. Early June. Normally they arrive in July, but they can arrive in early June. It is uncommon, but it does happen. Last year they arrived in early June, started crossing the Sand River. So that's when they arrive. And again, when they leave is all dependent. They are very, very much dependent on local rains in the area. Sometimes it'll keep them longer. Sometimes it will send them off earlier. So it is one of those, there's no steadfast answer, and it varies from year to year depending on rainfall and climate conditions. Always look for lions under here. What is that? Female Montagues. Oh no, it's flying too fast. But hopefully the bird Tristan's got. Oh no, there we go. Well done. There we go. Archie's on it. Looked like a female Montague's. Harrier. Is ours, but we're going to fly south.
Well, Brenty seems as though he's got a few little gremlins on board with him, and maybe it's because of his hyperactive nature this morning that the gremlins are being attracted. But what we do have is a beautifully silhouetted white-backed vulture against a stormy, moody sky and a dead tree, and so it all looks very kind of ominous, doesn't it? So you've got this kind of fast-moving clouds in the background that are grey, and then this silhouetted bird in this dead leadwood. Is it leadwood? No, it's a knobthorn. I apologize. Dead knobthorn that is sitting here. So very cool to see. It's part of the pair that we have with the chick that is off Philemon's cut line, so we're very close to Philemon's cut line, and the chick I think is almost at that point now where it's flying. I haven't seen it for the last few days, and maybe it's still around. I haven't actually spent too much time in this area, so I'm not 100% sure how the chick is doing, but it seems as though the last time I saw it to have all its adult plumage, and it seems to be able to kind of flap around. It definitely took off every now and then, but there you can see the clouds kind of rolling past and going at a rate of knots. It's quite interesting actually to see how fast those clouds are moving after yesterday's serious wind. This maybe is the sort of front that's been blown in, and it is a bit gloomy, although there comes the sun now just to kind of break everything up. But how cool is that? It's very cool. Like I say, ominous is the word I would use for that scene, that's for sure. Now, obviously there's no sign of a dead animal. It's just a place where they roost overnight. So, Neen, you're wondering about the huge herd of buffalo, whether it departed Juma. Yes, as far as I know, Noel had it yesterday crossing over the boundary going south. I haven't seen any tracks coming back, and I've only been in the western sector, but maybe Scotty has seen some tracks his side. We'll have to ask him, but for now, I haven't seen anything. And there you can see a beautiful view of the sun being filtered by the clouds as the clouds go past. Isn't that cool? It almost looks like, what are those snow globes? Is it a snow globe where you kind of shake it and then everything moves around inside? Or maybe one of those fortune tellers little smoky sort of crystal balls that they have in movies. That's almost what it looked like for a while there. It seems as though there are some more clouds on their way, but very, very cool to see. Something different. We don't often get to see that. We obviously look at the moon quite often, but the sun gets a little kind of harsh for us and makes it a little bit difficult. Now, apparently, I've just gotten an update from Nikki via Scott that the buffalo are somewhere on Chitwa, so they're not completely out of the area. It's still fairly close by. But the Nkahuma Pride have missed out and missed a trick because the Nkahuma Pride went far too far west. Apparently, they went all the way onto Ottawa, which is west of Elephant Plains and is part of Singita's Traverse. And so if they had been around, they could have had themselves a very tasty, beefy snack over the last little bit, but they've missed out, unfortunately, and it seems as though our buffalo are heading further east now. Right, well, we're going to leave our vulture to itself. We're going to go carry on and see what else there is out here. So, Proud Cat Mama, because we're going to start departing, you want to know what the wingspan is of a white-backed vulture. Now, Proud Cat Mama, I have a idea, but I want to make 100% sure as to what it is, because otherwise I might be completely out, and so we've got the ability to double check it. So let's quickly check. White-backed vulture, there we go. And so the wingspan is pretty much what I thought it is, which is about 2.1 to 2.3 meters. I was going to say 2 meters is what I was going to say, but it's about 2.1 to 2.3 in feet. What would that be in feet, Ferg? 2 meters is close to 8 foot, isn't it? 7.5, somewhere there. Somewhere in that area. So quite a big wingspan. Not very small at all, but they're not as big as, say, the leopard faced or one of those. But still, at 2 meters is a serious set of wings, and it allows them to be able to get themselves into all kinds of places and up into the air. But what we do have is all of a sudden is some glorious sunshine. It's kind of broken through the clouds and everything has just sort of started to glow. The grass is looking nice and green. The trees are all very, very golden green as well after a bit of rain. It's kind of spruced everything up and it's looking absolutely beautiful at the moment. And so hopefully we will get a magical sighting to go with the beautiful sort of looking colors that we have out here. I wonder if maybe a bit of sun is not worth heading back towards Hukumuri in case he kind of comes out a little bit. Although where he is going to be no chance of any sun reaching him. He's in the pits of that drainage line and lots of shade and cover around that area for him. So I don't think we're going to see too much of him moving, but we'll try a little bit later. Let's just see. Maybe we get lucky and he comes out a little bit. I'm very surprised that he didn't hoist that kill. The way that he was looking at that tree last night and the way that he placed it at the base of the tree, I thought he would have taken it up. But maybe what happened was during the course of the night, he kind of started to feed on it, and then he just realized, well, it's much easier for me just to drag it under a thicket where I don't actually have to worry too much than to try and hoist it into this tall, straight tambuti tree with not very much space for him to lie in. You also might find that no hyenas came around, so he didn't really have to worry so much, and decided, well, much easier for me just to kind of eat it on the ground than it is up in that tree, and that's why we had that situation. So I suppose clever male. I wonder how much he's actually eaten as well. By this, judging from the size of his belly, seems as though quite a bit must be the case. He must have had a fair amount during the night. So, Randy, you want to know how much I think Hukumuri weighs? That's a difficult thing to know. I mean, it's... You know, obviously we have rough estimates of things, and I mean it's tough. You know, I don't really know what a weight of a leopard, his sort of size category, would normally be, but he's quite a dense, thick, kind of big individual on the shoulder wise. So I would say he probably weighs between 70 and 80 kilograms. So like 150 pounds, 160 pounds, somewhere around that area. That's where I would go with him. He's, like I say, got quite a lot of bulk to him. It's just that he's not a very tall leopard, so but difficult to say though. I mean, I could be completely wrong. He might be lower than that, he might be more. Definitely now that his tummy is the size that it is, he'll probably be on the upper end of that, so maybe probably closer to 160, 170 pounds. Whereas when he's sort of not eaten, I don't know, maybe 150, 160? Difficult to say. Well, VM and I have spoken about this many times, is we would love to know how much our leopards weigh, and we've been thinking of all kinds of ways to try and get into a situation where we could weigh our leopards. So we were thinking of burying a scale on a prominent pathway and then seeing if our leopards walked over it. That was the kind of idea at one point, but then we thought, well, what's going to happen if a big bull elephant walks over it? Because then the bull elephant might break our scale. So we have to come up with a better plan, but that's certainly something that VM and I have chatted about. And wouldn't it be cool if you could lay it on a path and then the leopard came over and it took a camera trap photo so you could identify exactly which leopard it is, and then the weight of that leopard exactly? I think it would be quite cool. I don't know, be an interesting sort of way to do things. If anybody could build it, it would be VM, that's for sure. So we'll just try and see how it goes and whether or not VM comes up with some sort of system, but we'll let you know. We'll keep you updated as to his progress as he goes. Right, now enough of me waffling on about weighing leopards. Let's send you back to Scotty, who's at least got a leopard, and I believe the little cub is still playing around.
Yes, the cub has just moved out into a little clearing. We had lost visual of them for about 10 minutes. We really thought they were going to cross back to Juma. They were steadily making their way towards us, but then they plonked themselves down. But at least now we do have a view of this cub, who seems to finally be tiring this morning. It's been almost as energetic as Brent has. I think Brent had a bowl of sugar for breakfast this morning, by the sounds of things. Very happy to hear he's in a joyful mood. And you can see this cub is kind of winding down, although it looks like it may be getting ready for another little bout of stalk mommy. It loves creeping up on its mom and pouncing on her tail. It's also been up and down, jumping out of trees this morning, practicing, honing all of its various skills that will make it a successful adult and even a successful youngster. The ability for it to be able to move quickly up and down trees is going to help it greatly when trying to avoid risks from animals like hyena and lion. And wouldn't it be nice to know how many close encounters this little cub has already had? We are only out for a fraction of the time that they are doing their business, so we would have lost, or not lost, but missed a lot of interesting moments and hair-raising moments that this cub has been through. Rick, you love the little black pearl necklace on her chest there, and it is a beautiful kind of necklace that all leopards have. They are all slightly different, but that little black necklace is common amongst all the leopards. She definitely is a little cutie though. Hello. And Nikki has just agreed with you, Rick. Apparently there's a kind of one large black pearl on the center of that necklace, which is quite distinctive. And some people have the incredible ability to be able to really notice the differences between individual leopards, Nikki being one of them. A lot of you guys are also really good when it comes to identifying them. Tristan's also good. Myself, on the other hand, not so sharp. They all look fairly similar to me. But just like us as humans, we are all different. Unless you're an identical twin, then you won't be different. Proud Cat Mama, you would like to know the best way to be able to age a leopard. Well, occasionally people here in the Sabi Sands and other wilderness areas do get lucky, and they actually know categorically that a leopard has given birth on a set day. They may be with her in the morning and see that she's pregnant, and that afternoon they'll notice that she's no longer pregnant, and that way they'll know exactly how old they are. Other than that, it's just kind of guesswork. You know, the average size of a cub will give you an idea as to how old it should be, but there's always kind of exceptions to the rule. And again, if we relate aging leopard to aging humans, if you lined up 10 humans in a row, you probably wouldn't get many of their ages correct, and they're our own species, so it's a lot of guesswork. Good stuff. We're going to stay put. Hopefully the leopards won't, and they will come out and get a little bit closer to us. For now, though, back to the Mara with Brains.
Look at that. One of my favorite birds in the Mara, the white-bellied Quran, and that is a male. I can't see a female around, but there's normally one not too far off. We are in the sea of grass at the moment. That there are birds and other small creatures, but very few. Side of us hiding in the grass, or is it another male? No, it's the girl. There she is. So it's very uncommon to see them by themselves. You normally always see a pair, so if you ever spot one, it's good to have a squiz around. And there she is. Not quite as brightly coloured as the male. Oh, the male's out in the open. Sorry, Archer, I'm making you jump from side to side. And they are very pretty birds. As I said, we're out in the sea of grass. So while we're in the longer grass areas, there's almost no large mammal life at this time of the year. And it's hard to believe that in a few short months there will be hundreds of thousands of wildebeest littering this area. And it's a very tough time for the lions of this area. As you can see, I mean, I'm sitting here and I can see the Qurans, I can see some trees. I cannot see one large mammal. Let me grab my binoculars. But we cannot see one large mammal. Now, at this time of the year, the large mammals are generally concentrated on the short grass plains. So that's where I'm getting. Well, OD Farming is wondering if we've seen the Black Rock Pride recently. We have not, OD. The Black Rock, as the crow flies from where we are here, is about 40 kilometers. Driving distance close on 100 kilometers. So a long way away from where we are presently. Also, since the cubs have become older, what's happened with the Black Rock Pride is they've moved off those rocks and down into areas where unfortunately we don't have any signal coverage at the moment, hence the reason we haven't been spending much time there. Also, again, it's that area is part of the long grass. Wow, the rain filled this pan up quite extensively. Sure, I wasn't expecting to see that much water out here. But so, oh, hang on. Now I do need my far lookers. Where have my far lookers gone? That's my water bottle. Oh, I thought I spotted a leopard in that sausage tree. It wasn't, it was just a funny looking branch. Speaking of leopards, let's go back to the current queen of Juma, who's on the move.
Yes, she certainly is on the move. It looks like she's left the cub behind in this area. She's been hanging out for what seems like the last few days, and it's obviously time for her to go and look for their next meal. And thankfully, she has just headed straight onto Juma, which is good signs. If she does manage to make a kill on Juma, she'll hopefully go and collect the cub and bring her straight back. Now, it looks like she kind of changed direction, so I just want to slink into this little low-lying area here and hopefully be able to get you some more views of her that way. Woohoo! Well, at least she's out and about, and she could continue to move for a long portion of the day, or she could just lie up away from the cub where she'll be able to relax in peace. Time will tell, though. Sure what she's doing. It looks like she could be sniffing around and rolling in some dung. Leopards like to do that, especially buffalo dung. What is it that you found there? Fascinating how good her camouflage is there. It was tricky to see her before Senzo zoomed in. Beautiful. Well, I wonder what that was. Hard to be certain, but I'm guessing it was some kind of dung that leopards will like to roll in from time to time. And we've got a special question from a special person in our team, Conrad, a new member of our tech department whose birthday it is, would like to know why would she roll in the dung. And Conrad, happy birthday. And it's hard to be certain, you know, maybe it is to mask their scent to a degree, maybe they just like the smell of it. I've even actually seen them kind of lapping up, almost drinking very fresh buffalo dung in the past, and whether that's also for some salts and minerals, I would guess. A few missing nutrients from their meaty diet. Isn't this beautiful with her moving through all these grasses that are in full flower, lots of seeds. Perfect spot for her to stalk in. And she's just moving along slowly, making sure she doesn't pass up any easy opportunities. As good as this thick bush is for her to hide in, it's also equally good cover for her prey to disappear into. So Kylie, you would like to know if big cats like catnip. Yes, I'm told they do. I've never actually done an experiment with catnip in any of the big cats, but I have been told that lions do enjoy it, as do leopards. So the answer to your question is yes. Okay. Squeeze through here. Oh. I'm guessing she is going to continue up towards us here, but it is a bit of a gamble. There's no guarantees. Just wishfully thinking that she is going to keep coming deeper into Juma. Yeah, looking good, looking good. We'll be able to loop ahead of her quite nicely here. It might take a couple of minutes before we do get a good view, but we certainly are feeling hopeful. And while we do negotiate the next best spot, we're going to send you across to Tristan.
Well, good luck, Scott. Hopefully she'll take you on an epic mission during the course of the morning. We are down near Zoe's at the moment. You might be wondering what I'm doing on this 2-track that looks as though it's all kind of worn the way that it is at the moment. Well, I came down just to check on the old hyena den, just to see what's going on, and it seems as though there's nothing going on at that old hyena den. I thought maybe, just maybe, I would get lucky and there would be a den site that would be active, so it was worth just coming to check. And I know Noelle followed some hyenas into this area, but you know, she didn't have any luck, so I thought I'd just come and have a look. But definitely no sign of any usage. There's nothing since the rain, no movement there. Grass growing in the holes, there's not very many tracks going up and down, so definitely not in use at the moment. You can actually see how long it's been. If you look at how much grass has grown over this track, it's quite amazing. It used to be such a big prominent sort of road going down that area. Just goes to show how well nature can recover when given a chance. Right, now if Thandi is up and moving, I wonder if maybe Hukumuri is doing the same. So I think we're going to start heading our way back into that area just in case he's decided to come out a little bit and we can actually see him a little bit better. But we're going to see how that all kind of plays out. So Elaine, you're wondering how Gowrie Dam is doing after the rain? Not very well. It still needs massive amounts of rain. It's at a situation now where it's only got very little in it, and in fact almost zero. So you know, there's not very much there, and the rain that we had is not enough to fill it up at all. We only had about, I think, must have been close to about 10 millimeters of rain, which is really not enough. We need something in the sort of region of 100 to 150 to try and fill that dam up. So it's going to be a while still, and we still need a lot more. Hopefully it's going to come now in March. It's already, or February, March, because otherwise we're going to have a dire winter once again. At least there's been good growth of plants. You can see around us here there's nice green grass all over the place and good vegetation, so that should help the animals quite a bit. They should be able to get at least some good food, but in terms of water, it's going to be a real tough winter for them at this stage. We need a lot more water before we can call it safe and easy enough to do. Now Fergus has spotted something. Fergus, what have you spotted? Have you? Well done, Fergus. Miss Lapwing, you want to know what bird it was that Hosanna ate the other day? Well, Miss Lapwing, he ate a Egyptian goose. Now I'm reversing because Fergus said he saw some elephants. Oh, there we go. There's the elephant. I can see its bottom now. Let's get in here, Ferg, and see what we can do. Always nice to spend some time with Ellie's in the early morning. So let's try and see if we can get to where he is. So, Izzy, you were wanting Ellie's this morning, I believe. Well, here we go. It looks like a big bull elephant that we've got. Let's go around this way and see if we can get a better view from this side. Oh, there went a little button quail that flew off out of the grass. Lots of them around as well at the moment. Not vocal though, not like last year. Last year we had the button quails very vocal, as well as the monotonous larks. Right, now I'm going to get into a better position. While I do that, I'm going to send you off to Thandi, because apparently she's approaching Scotty's vehicle.
Yes, she's on the move now and getting into her morning hunt. And thankfully, she is continuing to go deeper into Juma. So, wonderful, wonderful prospects. And we've still got so much more time to spend with her. So, provided we can actually follow her through this area she's moving, there are a few thick sections which will be tricky for us to follow her. But if we do, spend the next hour and a half on the move with a hunting leopardess. How cool is that? It is going to require us to loop around again though, so we're going to do that and send you back to in the meantime.
Well, Scotty, good luck. It sounds like you're having to move a lot there, and I know that area is not easy on the old vehicles, and also just moving around, quite tough. Now, you can see we've got a bull elephant. Ferg, if you can try and punch in on his left front foot, of course now he's going to move. but there looks like there is a big abscess on his left front leg. I wanted just to see what it was. It almost looks like there was some swelling and a bit of pus coming out of there. So let's just try and see. It doesn't smell bad, which is often an indication then there's pus leaking. You can actually often smell an elephant when they've got these big wounds, but it doesn't smell like that. So maybe I'm just sort of a wrong angle, or I just didn't see it right. But let's go forward and have a little look. It seems like he's very relaxed, so if it is something like a wound, it's not really disturbing him too much. I'm going to go quite far around just to get a sort of front-on view of him and then let him walk past. After that, if there is a wound there, I'm not going to carry on following him too much because it gets very dense in here and I don't really want to irritate him if he's feeling a bit under the weather. Let's see, will we be able to fit through here is the next question. Yes, I think we will. Awfully easier if you're an elephant than you are a Land Rover by the looks of things. So that's where he's off to, is that marula tree, which is what I was hoping he was going to go to. Let's just try and get round to this position here. No, don't go too far. Although he's not eating any of the marulas. I don't see any marula fruit on this tree actually. He's into the grass at the moment, so maybe he's not on a marula mission just yet. After the rain he's decided a little bit more food. But let's have a look on that front left leg. Oh, I can't really see anything, to be honest. Too much grass in the way. There, that front leg. There looked like there was some sort of swelling on the sort of right side of the front left leg. There, you can see a little bump almost, if I'm right. Difficult to see in this grass, though. I wonder if he's got maybe a little wound there. It's not uncommon for Eddies to get wounds around those areas. Often, kicks stumps by mistake and then a little piece breaks off and that causes a bit of an infection to start. But it's certainly difficult to keep up with them in here and to see. Let's just try and get round one more time. So, let's have a look. So, Proud Cat Mama, you're wondering if Ellies ever chew on bones and the likes for minerals? Well, not often, no. So, I mean, they do pick up bones from time to time and they will put them in their mouth and they will kind of sort of sniff them. But that's more on elephant bones themselves, and they'll try and kind of get an indication of who this animal was. And it's almost like they can kind of pick up what's going on, almost like a forensic anthropologist. But it's interesting because they don't really need it. They can get nutrients from all the other things around, and so you don't see them sucking on bones like giraffe do or kudu. They're far less prone to it. But he just keeps kind of disappearing in front of us at the moment. He's not really sitting still for long enough for us to actually get a decent view of him. He's kind of disappearing through here. I don't know if we're actually going to get a good view of this animal, and so I don't really want to push him much more than what we already have. So I think what we're going to do is probably turn off, and while we do that, let's send you back across to Brent, who's just driving around.
That is a good mom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little scaly spur files. That is impressive with the amount of predatory birds here in the Mara. I love the way they run down the road. Oh, isn't that cute? They are very, very cute. Hello, little ones. Now, I'm going to try and get a bit closer, but they are running at speed, and they have been for a while. I'm heading into my favorite part of the Mara Triangle now, and we don't get down here as often as we would like. It is really far. I mean, since I've started this morning, I've barely stopped driving just to get down here, and it is, for a few reasons, my favorite. My favorite pride of lions lives down here. We've got the border boys, we've got the 2 female cheetah, babies, they're taking off. I didn't even see them, they were in the grass next to the road. We've got the 2 female cheetah with the cubs. We've got that beautiful big male leopard and the female leopard. It's all sort of in this area. But as I say, it is quite far. It's, as the crow flies, probably 12 kilometers straight from camp. but driving, it turns into about 25, 30 Ks to get down here. But it is worth it when we make the effort. Arch and I were just chatting about how much we like this area now, and I've been checking every tree. I don't know, I've got a leopard feeling, a Mara leopard feeling today. And when was it? In March last year, the first time I ever came down to this area. There's high mineral salts in these swamps here. It's actually called the Salt Lick, and there were probably about 250 elephants all in the Salt Lick. I'm just going to check the trees again. I don't know why I've got a leopard feeling this morning, and it's unusual not to have seen a cat by now. Maybe we'll catch up with my favorite pride of lions, the Salt Lick Pride. Who knows, maybe we might be lucky enough with a female cheetah with cubs or two. They have been down in the Serengeti for the last little while, but they move backwards and forwards across the border quite regularly. Now, the other reason I really like this area is that when we come down here, we're almost always the only car down here. Okay. Now, where are the cheetah? As we move further down, I've been talking about the short grasses. The grass gets shorter and shorter. Aha! I walk in the rain. You are spot on. The leucistic hyenas are also down in this area. Generally a little bit further to the east of where we are, but their clan does range into this area. And I haven't seen them since that first day I saw them. They have been spending more time in Tanzania. As I say, I think it moves with the animal movements. And the last time I was down here, the majority of the general game, the topi, the impala, the tommies, etc., and the big buffalo herds were in Tanzania. So I think that pulled a lot of the predators down towards Tanzania, and hopefully they've now moved back. But as I said, it's a constant up and down. What is in that big fig tree? It is another leopard-like shadow. There's that big fig down there in the valley. Another leopard-like shadow in there. But it is a beautiful tree. Now, we are constantly working on improving our coverage and range, and we have now got a lot more coverage in this area from a new repeater. We're still working on the comms though. Hopefully we'll have it all sorted before the wildebeest arrive, because the wildebeest, one of the sort of arms of the migration, come in from the western Serengeti and the Lamai Wedge, and they spend a lot of time in this area. So you do get lots of predator action down here. I don't know, I'm just feeling really lucky this morning, even though it's been really slow for us so far. But while I hope for my luck to change on the kitty cat front, let's head back to the bearded wonder man, Scott Dyson.
Well, good luck, Brent. I hope you get lucky with your leopard in the Mara. We're getting lucky with our leopard here in the Sabi Sands. I'm not too sure what has caught her attention, but she's definitely started creeping forward into this area, so she could well have detected some possible prey. It's quite thick, so we're going to have to try and skirt around and not interfere in any way. So we're just going to slowly creep into different spots and kind of stay parallel to her, not move directly behind her. She continues to slink forward now, and so do we. Always a tricky balance, trying to work out where to position the vehicle when animals are on the hunt. She's definitely of something up ahead of her. She's continuing to creep alongside us now. It'll be impossible for us to show you whilst off-roading, but she is steadily just kind of creeping forward. What could it be that she's spotted? Maybe some warthogs she's heard squeaking to their mother. There's a few young warthogs out at the moment. Maybe a steenbok or a duiker, small antelope. She likes those. Okay, we can stop here and just snipe a few views of her. She seems to have relaxed a little bit, but she is definitely still moving with intent. Well done, Sens. Tricky work on camera when a leopard is moving through thick bush like this. She's obviously now just stopping and listening. If she takes a few more steps, she'll pop out into a slightly better view, but for now you can just see a few of her spots. What have you caught wind of, Tandy? Now, even though she may well know there's something here, imagine being so low to the ground. We elevate it, so we've got an even better vantage point than she does. So that's why she'll have to stop, listen, assess, make sure she doesn't blunder any opportunities, because the prey could be a lot closer to her than she is aware of. Okay, looks like we've got a nice little gap where we can continue to squirrel on after her through. Also a nice big termite mound ahead of us that she might decide to come and use as a vantage point. Julie, you'd like to get lost out here? Not for a while, but at night, yes. At night, following animals off-road, it can get quite tricky, especially if it's overcast and you don't have the stars to help guide you. But thankfully, I mean, here in the Sabi Sands, there's quite a dense network of roads, so there's not huge blocks of land that you can get lost in. Whereas there are other areas like the Mara where there's not a lot of roads, and it's certainly very easy to get lost there. Now I'm guessing if we just stop here, she could hopefully continue on towards us. But it was quite a thick area that she dissolved into. So we'll just have to sit here and wait and hope that she continues on the same trajectory that she was moving on. Got her, Sens? Yeah. Sens has got her. Well done. I love these views of them when it's really thick bush. I think it really gives you a good idea of just how effective these masters of stealth can be. There's a few francolin chirping off. I don't think they can see her, but there's something that's causing them to chirp away, not too far from us. Michael, you would like to know, what is the biggest challenge when off-roading and following leopards? One of the tricky things is keeping an eye on the animal whilst you're trying to negotiate a pathway, because they kind of do alter their course ever so slightly as they're moving. It's really important that you do try and keep a visual of them, but negotiating through some thick areas obviously requires you to take your eyes off them. So it's that kind of ping-ponging from your route planning to the animals' plans that you need to kind of balance up and weigh up, and then there's a lot of guesswork and just kind of predictions when it comes to where you think they may pop out. It looks like we got lucky with this prediction, because she's going to pop out right next to us here. Magic. Her body language seems to be kind of calming down now, so I'm guessing whatever it is that she did detect in this area, she no longer has an idea of what it's doing. Straight behind our vehicle, just meters behind Senzo. So cool. I'm just going to give her enough space to move off, which she has now, and then we can turn around and plan our next route. Wonderful stuff. Well, we are going to get you hopefully into another good spot, and while we do that, we will be sending you all the way back up to the cheerful Brent Leo Smith, who's still searching for his leopard.
Welcome back. Sorry, I just thought I saw some tracks on the road here. Oh, lions. Must be the salt licks. Now we're about, as I said, this whole area I really adore, but this spot we're about to go to next I adore the most. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to jump up a little bit. Oh, I'm caught on something down here. Here we go. So I can see a little bit more. So the grass has grown incredibly since I was last here, but as we move further down, we're going to get onto that short grass around the military area. Proud Cat Mama would like to know, are there advantages or disadvantages to being a solitary hunter? Of course there are both. The main advantage about being a solitary hunter, let me try and find a better spot to sit here without pulling my earpiece out, there we go, is that you don't have to share your food. That's a good one. So when you catch something like a leopard, unless you've got a baby, it's all yours. Whereas if you are a social hunter like a lion, you generally have to share, which can be quite problematic, quite traumatic, and quite violent at times. And the same goes for hyenas, even wild dogs that are not so violent but still have to share. Whereas a solitary hunter, you get to keep all the food. Now, the last time I was down here, we saw a young male cheetah that we had never seen before, and he spotted the border boys and just slunk off into the grass. He killed an impala on that little hill over there, a baby impala. Oof, I don't know, I've just got that good feeling this morning. Maybe it'll have to be this afternoon, but I've just got that feeling that something's up. Something's in the air, that we're going to see something incredible. Who knows, maybe it's going to be an aardwolf during the day. I've seen aardwolf down here. I've actually seen aardwolf chased by lions down here, but that was at about 2 a.m. in the morning. Okay, let's get out of the long grass. I want to get down to the lugger's edge. Let's just speed up a little bit. There are some ellies around in the distance, but I want a kitty cat. And there are lion tracks heading down, well, there were lion tracks heading down this road. The road's a bit hard to see now. Just keep looking for those cat ears to pop out of this sea of red oat grass. Now, some of you might get a bit confused when we talk about red oat grass versus Thamida or Natal red top or Natal red grass. It's all the same grass, and it is a very good grass if you eat grass. Oh, bumpity bumpity bumpity. Okay, I'm going to head down to the bottom of this slope to my favorite little lugger in the triangle. While we do that, it seems like Tristan's back on the hunt for the Hukumuri.
I am on the hunt for Hukumuri, boisterous Brent, and we can see him. He's come out a little bit, but I'm just trying to figure out a way to get some sort of view of him without going down this massive bank. So let's just see if maybe we go this way. I don't know if we're going to get much, but let's try. There we go. So Fergus says to me thumbs up and that we're in a good spot. and that we'll be able to see him. He has come out a little bit, which is good news. So he's in a situation where he's a little bit more kind of out in the open, and hopefully we're going to be able to at least watch him. He's sleeping down there, but there we go. You can at least see his rosettes this time and actually see his face when his face is up. But he's a tired boy, a tired full male, and so I don't think he's going to be nearly as active as what Tandy is, but it was worth just coming back and checking. But at least we can see him now. Like I say, it's worth staying here and having a look. There is an elephant bull that's not too far away that might come and disturb his little nap as well. So it's going to be a situation where we're going to have to be a little bit patient. But you can see he's breathing quite heavily. He's almost got an oval shape to his tummy, not the sort of normal straightish shape. There's this big bulge both at the bottom and on the sides, and so it's a cat that is content, happy in the shade, and I'm sure he's going to have a really nice nap as he digests his baby kudu. Now he is lying under a rather large tambuti tree, and so I was thinking to myself, I wonder if this carcass is not being placed somewhere in this tambuti that he's underneath at the moment, but I don't see anything. I can't see any signs of it. Maybe he's just wolfed down the entire thing and it's all finished now, and that's why he's got such a big sort of tummy at the moment. So you can see some of the vegetation that he's kind of hiding behind, and it's amazing to actually see how camouflaged they are. But luckily he's come out a little bit, so maybe he decided where he was just far too thick. I think the flies are giving him a bit of trouble as well. I know when we were parked down there that there were flies absolutely everywhere, and you can see them buzzing around his whiskers and around his ears and eyes. So there are lots and lots in that area, and that might drive him to come and sit somewhere else, which will be quite good. Now, while Hukumuri has a little rest and decides to have a bit of a nap, and we'll kind of sit here and see what he gets up to, but let's send you back across to Scotty and Thandi, who I believe is still up and moving.
Yes, well done, Tristan, for getting you another glimpse of the imposter. And we are just going to stay right here because Tandy is coming straight towards us, and she could well creep up onto the small termite mound and use it as a bit of a vantage point. Now, she is heading straight towards our eastern boundary, so there is a chance that we may have to leave her shortly. Beautiful, beautiful views there of her trying to detect any possible meal opportunities, but it doesn't appear like there's too much in the way of food in this immediate area. But of course that could change in a heartbeat. Scarlett, you'd like to know at what age will a leopard become independent, and it all depends on the individual, but anywhere from as young as a year up to about 2 years of age would be one that's stuck around here. Look at this, she's kind of slinking herself, holding her body low to the termite mound, making sure that nothing detects her as she gets onto it. Beautiful. Let's just reverse a little bit so we can get some more epic views of her now that she's got comfy there. There we go. How wonderful is this? So we couldn't have asked for a better morning. A few glimpses of her and the cub playing around together. Now she's decided to take us out hunting. And she's got good conditions for hunting today because it's nice and cool. So she's not going to be too hot as she searches for food. And it'll be really interesting to see how much she does decide to move today. She could well end up checking a lot of areas just to make sure she knows of any threats to her cub. So it's not only looking for meals, that will be on her list of things to do. Wonderful. I just need to get on the radio just to update Taxon, one of the guides who are going to be joining us here. Oh. Tax. Oh, there's some impala. Copy, if you just stand by there, she's heading towards you and there's some impala between us. Okay, we've just spotted some impala. Affirmative, I saw you. Just stop and look to your west and you'll see some impala, and you'll also see us driving around. Okay, so awesome stuff. And because she is very close to some impala, I think we're going to invite some other viewers on board with us. Just want to get into a good spot where we can sit and wait. Let's go up ahead here a little bit. Try and pick a good spot where we can view without interfering. You got it there, Sens. Hello everyone, we've got a very exciting scene unfolding here. We are coming to you live from the Sabi Sands in South Africa, and somewhere in those thick bushes there is a leopard, and it's sneaking up on a herd of impala. So it's still got a long way to go. My name's Scott, and it's great to have you on this live safari. Please pop your questions and thoughts in the comment box below. Here comes the leopard, and it's a female leopard called Tandy. She's got a tiny 3-month-old cub at the moment who she's just left behind at an area where she feels the cub is safe. And now she's headed off in search of some food for them. Oh, I've just heard an impala alarm call. Pah! But I'm not convinced that they've seen her, so I'm not too sure what could be going on. It could just be the fact that there's quite a few males within this herd, and the males will fight with one another and sometimes alarm call at one another. So this is the perfect distraction for her. A whole bunch of men on tour can sometimes provide a mistress of stealth like this with the opportunity she needs to get lucky. Very happy to hear that my mother is watching. Hi, Ma. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of days. And Philip Austin, also very happy to hear that you are watching. And to the rest of the people who are joining us from across the globe, again, I must reiterate, this is coming to you absolutely 103% live, and we couldn't have asked for a more epic scene to be unfolding. As much as leopard do like to use the cover of darkness for hunting, it doesn't mean that they do not hunt during the day, and she is definitely going to think about, well, I would have thought she was going to think about having a go for these impala, but now she's heading off in the opposite direction. And Craig, you'd like to see some of the impala, the possible prey. There they are. So they're about 50 meters away from her, which is a long way off. She needs to be about 5 to 10 meters away before she starts her attack. And I guess one of the things that will be constant for us as safari guides is that very often the animals will prove us wrong and go against all our thoughts and predictions, just like the fact that she started heading away from these impala. Maybe she's trying to loop ahead of them, so we'll just keep an eye on her. Or maybe it was the fact that there were some alarm calls that kind of made her think of trying to go and find another meal elsewhere where there are less eyes. There's quite a few eyes there spying on her. Maria, you'd like to know what senses the leopard will use when hunting. Is it their sight, their smell, their hearing? Which one do they use more of? It all depends on the individual hunt. They'll use a combination of all three of those senses, but depending on the thickness of the vegetation, whether it's day or night, they may use one sense slightly more than another. But I guess sight is probably one of the most important ones at the end of the day, because that's what they need to do. They need to lock targets and be able to chase their prey down with precision, speed, and agility. Now, I can't work out where she's gone, but we're certainly going to stick around this area and continue to try and follow her. I'm sorry that she didn't provide us with much action there, but it was good to see her, and we couldn't resist calling you guys in the chance that she did, in fact, lay an ambush on those impala. If you would like to continue watching, just Google Safari Live. Our safari will be continuing for another hour this morning, and then again this afternoon. Very good. Thank you for joining in briefly. I need to work out where this leopard's gone. See you next time. All right, everybody. Well, that was a change of scenery, and we are still happy to be here with her. I'm guessing she's just laid down here somewhere, but we actually don't know where she is. I was just assuming the other vehicle was going to have seen her, but they haven't. They've just looked at us like that. So we'll send you across to Tristan while we try and work out where, in fact, she has gone.
Well, guys, we've been sitting here with this Hukumuri male. He all of a sudden jumped up and went. There he is, there he's in front. And that's because wild dogs ran through here. So the dogs are somewhere about. He's busy watching. That's why he's kind of down and hunched over and keeping a low profile. But we saw one wild dog just run through here, and we can't find where it's gone. It's kind of doing circles around. So I thought I'd come back to him in case they were chasing him around. But so far, he seems to have managed to kind of fly under the radar, and that the dogs are somewhere on our left-hand side. But absolute kind of chaos. Just when dogs arrive, you never know what's going to go on, and that's why he obviously got into a situation where he got up and out of the drainage and is now kind of watching, and he keeps having his head down, sort of staring behind us, because that's where we last saw one of the wild dogs run past. Now, I don't know how many dogs are actually here. I think it's maybe a pack of 8 dogs that were seen yesterday. You can see, look how he's looking around. Maybe the dogs are going to appear out of this thicket at some point. Who knows? They kind of... Anything can happen with wild dogs, as you know, and we just saw the one bolting past us, so we couldn't find it again. I went towards Treehouse Dam, came back around, and I didn't see anything. So I'm going to try and maybe do another loop and just check if I can pick them up while he's still sleeping. I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't being chased by them and not up in a tree or something like that, and all of them were underneath in this area. But it's amazing what can happen. Sometimes you can go from a sleepy sort of static sighting to just absolute pandemonium in about 2 seconds. So now that we know where he is and where he's sitting, I just want to go back out a little bit and just check if there's not any sign of the dogs behind me again. They were kind of running around all over the place, and like I say, we just saw the one bolting, so maybe the rest are still coming up the road and we're going to be able to find them. So we're going to try and see if we can, and while we do that, I'm going to send you back over to Brent Leo Smith, who's going to be utterly jealous that we have dogs and a leopard.
Oh, it sounds like Tristan's in for a treat with my favourite puppies, my favourite animals. Here we go. We have a black-chested snake eagle. It's a Tanzanian black-chested snake eagle. So he's sitting in Tanzania. Now, I just had a lovely chat with a gentleman from Tanzania and getting a little bit of an update about what's going on down here on the border. I just can't believe how much the grass has grown in the 5 weeks since I was last here. So the border boys were seen yesterday, apparently, in Kenya, or on the border of Kenya and Tanzania, heading into Kenya, which is good news for us. So one of their favourite zones is that Balanite zone of trees up there, so that's where we're heading. So we've changed our plan and we're going to head into that direction to see if we can find them. And so fingers crossed we're going to find the 2 male cheetah. I still just can't believe how quickly this grass has grown. I mean, this was short grass 5 weeks ago, just before I went to Congo, so it is not short grass now. However, it is probably almost waist-high grass now. So making our life a little bit more difficult to find the cheetah, but don't worry, we shall persevere. And check all their favorite trees. Now, I did think I said if I came all the way down to the Tanzanian border, I would do a dance on the border. Am I going to stick to that? I think I am. But I'm going to dance on the border. So I do know that there is a possibility that Tristan might have to steal my limelight for the wild dogs. So I'm going to have to take my comms out. But I'm going to say, Archie, if they ask for a quick link to Tristan, because I know how quickly wild dogs move, just shout it to me and I will link to Tristan. But I said I was going to do a dance on the border, and on the border I shall do a little hop and a skip. And who knows, maybe the high ground of the hopping and the skipping will give us some luck. So just let me just do that, sorry, otherwise you won't be able to hear me. But there we go. International boundary, no entry into Tanzania. Please note it is illegal to enter the Serengeti without written authority. Well, fortunately, I'm just going to stay on the edge. I'm not going to enter the Serengeti. Whoop. This is very so, give me a beat. No, of course. I'm on the Tanzanian border. Okay, go find some cheetah. Maybe that was what the luck we needed. A little jig on the border will change our luck this morning. It is very unusual to travel this distance in the Mara and not see a big cat. They're all hiding in the grass. And put my thingy, whatever it's called, mic pack, that's what it's called. There we go. And you might notice I'm allergic to shoes most of the time, and I have managed to get by 34 years with not wearing shoes as often as possible, and I intend to do the rest of my life doing the same. Speaking of something that walks very quietly and very, very silently without shoes on, is its tail is poking out of a hole.
Well, there's not just one tail, there's two tails poking out of a hole. So we've got a situation where Janet Jackson, well, has been joined by somebody else. There they go. They're going sneaking away inside of the hole, but there were definitely two tails sticking out there. So I don't know who is the new, maybe it's got a little admirer, maybe it's some offspring, I'm not quite sure, but it's very funny just to see a tail sticking out of a hole in a tree. So we've parked quite far off because obviously don't want to disturb them too much and don't want to have a situation where we chased them away, and we wanted you guys to be able to at least see the tails. But we saw them because we were looking for the wild dogs, and there's just this tail sticking out of the tree, which is very, very cool. So there goes our Janet's. So Janet Jackson has got a visitor. Maybe Genevieve from camp has decided to come down here because we haven't seen Genevieve for a while. So maybe Genevieve from camp has decided, I'm going to come and just visit Janet Jackson. Given that she is a celebrity, maybe Genevieve wants to become a celebrity too, and is also in a situation that she's kind of trying to maybe sign some sort of a deal to get some celebrity status. Right, dogs have disappeared though. They are nowhere to be seen. There's vultures, there's battalier eagles, so I think they must have made a kill not far away, and they must have been milling around and then came running past. So I'm going to try and just head back up this way and just double check what's going on. I see their tracks on the road, but it doesn't look like many of them. It looks like only just for the one running up this way. So where it's gone from here is anyone's guess. They could be anywhere at this stage. You know how wild dogs like to run, and particularly when they've kind of on the trail of something. And we saw some kudu that were also around, so maybe, just maybe, the dogs have run from there. There's a vulture. There was a battalier eagle here earlier. Come on, I wonder where you are, wild dogs. You just got to look for that fluffy tail. Now, people are obviously not going to believe me because we don't have it on camera, but at least I have Fergus as a witness. Fergus, we did see a wild dog, didn't we? It wasn't in my mind. Yes, we did see a wild dog. Excellent. Come on, doggies, be on the road. The problem is also I'm by myself, so I'm trying to go around in circles, but you know, wild dogs, when they're on the move like this, is always better when you've got a few vehicles, because people can loop and get around and kind of get into places that they need to in order to see them. So, you know, it's hopefully we'll be able to find it again.